Hello, 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 and welcome to this live broadcast, a live Q&A session with Donny Coram, yours truly, the Foreclosure Deals Coach. This is the weekly show where we get together and discuss how to find, figure, fund, fix, and flip a foreclosure deal for a minimum profit of $25,000. Guys, so much is going on in the real estate market. Here we are in a brand new year, first week in January. Things are not the drastic change I think everybody was hoping for to start the new year. Things are kind of still at a lull, but a lot of stuff is happening. The market is definitely going to heat up, and there's some fun stuff happening right now. I would like to start out by announcing, very excited about this. Maybe you've seen it on the social media already, but I got my book done and produced, and here we are. This is the editor copy, so it's got the not for resale bar across the front of it, but I bought a couple of author copies because I wanted to show my mom, if I'm being perfectly honest, and B, it was nice to have a couple of copies of my book available, The Hidden Foreclosure Deals Market. It is in this book that I go over in detail how the process that I go through the coaching works, okay? So I'd love for you to pick up a copy of it. Head on out to fdcbook.com. That'll take you to the landing page to pick it up. It's only $9, so it's an incredibly inexpensive investment to learn a lot about my process. And really, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more, start your process of becoming a real estate expert. Guys, a lot of people get into this industry with the mindset of getting rich quick. And I want to tell you, there is really no way to get rich quick in real estate, okay? There are some processes to make a lot of income. There are some processes to start the process of building wealth. Certainly, building a strong foundation is important, but as far as just getting rich quick, it cannot be done. And if it ever does happen, it doesn't last. How many of you out there have heard the story of people who win the lottery, millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars even, and then are broke inside of 3 to 5 years? The statistics on lottery winners who end up filing bankruptcy would stagger you. So why is that? Well, there's a lot of money to be made in real estate investing. The idea is making a bunch of money. The problem is it's not a get rich quick scheme, okay? You must have expertise and mastery. I am blessed to have not only mentored some of the best real estate investors in the city of Colorado Springs and nationally. I met some really powerful players in the industry early in my career, but also I've witnessed firsthand people trying to get into this industry, making a bunch of money in the short term, only to end up going back to their previous industry after a few months or a few years. Why? Because this is not a get rich quick thing. Here's an example, right? And I'm gonna share my screen real quick. A disturbing trend for real estate investors right now is that homes are being sold at a loss at numbers that are not been seen since 2016. So this came out end of 2023, a Yahoo article that said 1 in 7 investors are now losing money on the deals that they're doing. Okay, what changed? Well, obviously, there's a big interest rate shift. A lot of people didn't predict that very well because they hadn't been in the industry long enough. But really, what I think happened and what is currently happening is the market is now requiring a different level of remodel. Either you have to go much lighter to price the house lower than what you think market is, or you have to remodel it to areas that maybe you didn't master at that point. You're at an upper end flip, right? And you're not really qualified to do an upper end flip. So the point is you're seeing here an investor, as an example, Val Wellborn, showed a property that the investor bought the home for $450,000 and sold it for $480,000, which seems like it should have been profitable, but they put 50 grand of work into it. Right. And they listed it. Now, their initial numbers were okay at best. They listed it at 550. So they put 450 in it, tried to get out at 550, ended up taking 480 for it, 70,000 worth less than what they thought. Did they underestimate what the market was worth, or did they get caught in the vortex? I can't answer that question for you, okay? My crystal ball is broken. We run our own analysis on properties all the time, and we come up with a number that we believe the property is going to take. But the reality of the real estate market is it's constantly in a state of flux. So the mastery of real estate investing comes from extended periods of time of market exposure and understanding how the market dynamics actually work. Okay, so this is not a get rich quick sequence. And I talk to people weekly about joining the coaching program. And I can generally tell the people who are getting into coaching because they want to put in the work and master this process and make an income while doing so. Note I said income. The upside to real estate investing is very early on, you can start making money in real estate. Agents come out of real estate school and within 90 days, they could sell their first house and make $15,000 to $20,000 because actually doing real estate does not require a level of mastery any more than driving a car requires mastery. You can get your license at 16. I've got a 16-year-old daughter. We're going through this process, so this stays very real for me now. But she's not a master at driving a car. She's good at driving a car. I wouldn't have her behind the wheel if I wasn't confident that my live could actually get behind the wheel of a vehicle. But would I put her in a Ferrari and send her to a racetrack? No, because that should happen at the mastery level. Okay. And flipping, to be frank with you, because of the number of moving parts involved in a flip, it pays well because it requires a certain level of mastery. So if you don't have that mastery, a lot of people, I would say the majority of the people, want to get into real estate investing because they're looking for that passive income from buying a rental property. You hear that word passive income being thrown around all the time. You hear that terminology. What does that mean? Well, it means you have like a rental, right? And that rental is making you a couple $100 a month. Maybe you got a couple of them. So now you're making $300 to $400 a month. And the amount of time you have to invest to get that money is much lower than like having a day job, right? So it feels and looks like passive income. The reality of passive income is anything but passive. Number one, you have to buy that rental property. And to buy a rental property in today's market, you need 20% down on an average purchase price of $400,000 because you want to buy a retail-based property, definitely when you're doing a rental, right? Because you need to be in rental condition at minimum. So you're spending $400,000, you're putting 20% down. What's passive about coming with $80,000? And then if you're lucky, if you're doing well, you're making $200, maybe $300 a month in passive, quote unquote, passive income after your $80,000 investment. Guys, when you really do the math on buying a rental property in today's market, it simply does not pencil out. And as a result, a lot of the big companies, one example that comes to mind is Home Partners of America, that came into this market with the mindset that they were going to dominate the rental space by buying up a bunch of inventory on the market and then renting it out to potential clients and keeping the rental income. Well, they are now selling all of their inventory here in the local market because they've realized that it takes a very long time to build wealth through the passive income strategy. If you're making $200 to $300 a property, if you're gonna live on that and you live a pretty modest lifestyle, you're gonna need 20 of them to make any sort of decent living at that passive income thing. And you're gonna need $80,000 per property. So unless you're independently wealthy, getting into passive real estate investing is generally only gonna be to the people who have already established themselves in some other field. So what is the solution? It's flipping. By the way, if you're here, I see a couple of people are watching now, hop in the comments, say hi, let me know you're here. I don't always get your name if you haven't registered with StreamYard. So let me know, hey, it's Bill and I'm watching. I really appreciate it. I love having you guys checking out the channel. It means the world to me. Thank you so much. Getting back into it. Active real estate investing is flipping deals, but flipping deals is a complicated process requiring you to find a deal, analyze that deal quickly, fund the deal using lenders, not your own money, fix the deal, which is super complicated, bringing in contractors, knowing what level to finish it, yada, 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 and then flipping the deal at a profit. It's a 5-step process, and it's only after doing this for almost 20 years I've been in this game, 400 flips in my career, over 300. I can't tell you for certain I've hit 400. I know it's more than 300. That's what I advertised as 300 flips, but I lost count after that point. So I'm probably pushing 400 flips with my clients' flips and advising people on that. And I literally have mastered this field. This doesn't mean I don't have screw ups. It doesn't mean that I hit the ball out of the park every time I touch a flip. That's not what I'm saying at all. Rather, what I'm saying is I have achieved mastery. You might have heard the 10,000 hour theory of mastery. And there's a book by Malcolm Gladwell, The Outliers. And in The Outliers, it talks about how it takes 10,000 hours to fully master a process. So if you're going to be a violinist, okay, let's say that's the goal, right? You have to be a violinist for 10,000 hours. If you're doing 40 hours a week on the violin, it's going to take you 250 weeks. If you spend every working hour studying the violin, it will take you 250 weeks, or basically 5 years, at doing only playing the violin full time, 8 hours a day, to consider yourself a master in that field. Okay. Yet a lot of people want to get into real estate investing, and the most complicated aspects of real estate investing, flipping a property, and they're looking to get rich quick by achieving mastery on their first deal. It's mind-boggling to me, guys. It's mind-boggling that after I have spent this many hours working on this skill set, achieved the 10,000 hours, that people want to come into this field and make a bunch of money doing it out of the gate. I really have to be careful about bringing in clients and then feeling them out to make sure that the objective is not to get rich quick. Because if that's what you're trying to do, you're going to find yourself in that disturbing trend we just talked about, losing money on deals. Okay. The other side of that is, if you're willing to build a strong foundation of the knowledge required to become a successful real estate investor. And it really does start by understanding the process. Step one is finding a deal. Now, if you have a day job, which is typically most of my clients are not coming to me independently wealthy, okay? So they've got something they do all day. Well, finding a deal in and of itself is a full-time job. Okay, you got to scour the market. We run ads, right? You have to go make offers on properties. It's a process that requires about 20 to 40 hours a week by itself. So where are you going to find the time in between your daily life to also scour the market and find a deal? You're not. These are facts. If you're going to break into real estate investing, you're going to either have to quit your job, right? And that includes if you're already a real estate agent, because the retail real estate market, showing properties, finding clients, going through the lending process, that's a job. And to my agent brethren out there, I know, I did it for 17 years. I know how hard that gig is. If you're also going to find a property for yourself, analyze that property, find funding for that property, fix it and sell it, you're asking a lot of a typical week, and you haven't achieved mastery, so you're not good at it yet. Okay, so what the coaching does, this is not purely a coaching pitch, but I want to be clear that what I do for my clients is I remove that part of it from the scenario. My team finds the deal for you. Okay, we're constantly vetting deals. I know every wholesaler here in town. People are bringing me deals constantly. Plus, we're scouring the market. Plus, we run TV ads featuring my lovely wife. Plus, we're on Facebook, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we already have the 40-hour-a-week system requirement to find the deal for my clients in place. So that's something you don't have to do. From there, you got to analyze the deal. Now, I'll be honest with you, analysis shouldn't take that much time, but until you know how to analyze it, analyze a deal, it does take a decent amount of time. Okay, so I take that out for you too. When you're in the coaching program, we've already analyzed the deal. We present it to you, but the goal is to teach you how to fish. So we're going to go through that analysis individually on the deal with you and explain the 3 numbers that go into deal analysis. The number 1 number is the acquisition price. Obviously, you generally know what you're buying it at, or at least you know what you want to buy it at to make it a feasible deal. So that's number 1. Acquisition price. The second number is the rehab budget. Now, this is a little bit more complicated, because if you don't have a lot of experience, your knee-jerk reaction, if you see a really dilapidated house, okay, your first instinct is going to be, man, you're going to have to scrape this thing. We're going to have to knock this thing down. Or if we are going to remodel it, it's going to cost $100,000 to fix this, okay? And it's usually you're wrong, okay? The reality is, unless you're in construction, you usually don't have much of an actual purview on what it costs to do a remodel. This is fact. Okay, but over hundreds of flips, I can look at a property within reason and tell you whether the remodel is going to be $30,000 or $50,000. We're very rarely looking at properties that go be outside of that gap. So somewhere between 30 and 50, and I'm generally pretty close to the number. When you peel back the onion on the property, you get behind the walls, you might find some additional work that adds 3,000 or 4,000. So we add a 10% buffer on our remodel budget for when we start tearing into it. But generally, I can predict within some degree of reason what the property is going to cost to fix. Okay. From there, we have to fund the deal. And I got to be frank with you. The lenders that are in the market right now are terrified to lend money to a brand new investor. Why? Because the market, when money was being made in 20 and 21 and things were going way up, you could be a blind monkey and make money in the real estate flipping business, right? Because the price trends were heading so far upwards, anybody could make money in it. But today, they're counting on the fact that you either have some experience or you've partnered with some experience. Okay, so very difficult, much harder than it's been in the past to get a hard money loan. The good news is by partnering with me as your coach, we're leveraging my experience to get you a good term on your hard money loan to buy the deal, because I am a hard money broker myself. I don't lend my own funds. I broker the funds through other people. But because you're getting my experience, you're going to get a better term. You're actually going to make money because you're getting better money. Next up is the fixing part. We're going to have a whole discussion about that, but hiring contractors, getting them under contract to do the work, defining the scope of work, knowing what the materials costs are actually going to be, knowing what the labor costs should actually be, because contractors walk in, guys, and they want to charge you whatever. They have the same visceral response you had. Well, this is going to be $100,000. Right? And they're operating off their own wallet. This is how they feed their family. So they've got zero incentive to give you actual pricing on it. They simply have to leverage your current emotion on the deal to give you your rehab budget. And it's typically dead wrong. Okay, way too high. So we control that process by contracting it, saying this is what we're willing to pay for it based on industry trends, based on how many hours this is actually going to take to do. You know, when you get your transmission fixed on your car, right? There's a book that tells the mechanic the transmission on a Ford F-150 truck takes 4.5 hours to rebuild, or whatever the number is, right? And the shop rate for that is $125 an hour. So you know right out of the gate how much you're going to pay for that job. That book exists in the contracting world, but that's a software that has an expense attached to it. You got to pay for that. I'm obviously paying for that because my clients need it. So we are able to do predictive, this is what this should actually cost to get done. Right? Finally, we got to sell the property. And the agents in this business have always made 6% or more for listing and selling a property. Well, if you're selling a $400,000 home, right, you're going to lose 24 grand of the profit on that deal to the agents. Now, I'm not saying the agents don't earn their keep. I'm just saying if you're an investor, you can't pay their keep and line your pockets at the same time. It's very difficult for both sides to make money in that equation, okay? So I've negotiated much lower rates with my in-house agent. The net effect is if you really want to be a real estate investor, for one thing, this is not a get-rich-quick sequence, okay? For two, you're gonna need all of these pieces, and there's two ways to develop these pieces. You can do it on your own, figure out how to find a deal, quit your day job, go hunt for a deal. Unrealistic, especially if you got a family, people who are counting on you to put food on the table, because it's going to be a while before you're going to get a paycheck. So it's highly improbable that you're going to go I'll figure this out on my own route, okay? Number two, you got to analyze it. And how are you going to analyze it if you've never done it before? Okay, when you start adding up all the things that you have to do to make this successful and profitable, it makes sense. Actually, in the disturbing trend of 1 in 7 is losses, I think that's getting worse as we trend out. You're going to see more and more investors lose money on deals because they're going to enter the market at the wrong time, use the wrong comps, and end up upside down. I think we're going to see a huge amount of that in the years to come. So what is to be done? Start with a fundamental education. Okay, the education, and I know this leads right back into the book here, but I would love if you pick up a copy of the book. I'm going to post it in the comments right now. www.fdcbook.com. Head on out, pick up a copy of this book for only $9. Get the fundamentals. I got to tell you that the people, I totally misspelled that. Let me I got to do that again. FDC book. My apologies. I'm still doing it wrong. It's so bad. Hold on. This is what the downside of doing this live, guys. I'm telling you. All right. FDCbook.com. Get the book. I have a handful of clients who took the time to go through my process. They bought the book. Then from the book, I have my 5 F's, a foreclosure investment system course. It's 40 videos long. It's a lot, but I tried to keep the videos super short so they were digestible, so I could just provide the very basics of real estate investing to people looking to get started. And then once you've read the book, it's only 100 pages long. I'm proud of myself for getting to 100 pages. When my teacher told me I had to do a book report, with like 6 pages. I was upset, right? Then I wrote 100 pages. It was difficult, but I got it done, right? If you take the time to read the book, then you go in and you learn the course, then you'll be ready to do a deal. So when I bring you a deal, you're good to go. Hey, Facebook user, again, I don't know your name here, but once again, it's ftcbook.com to get the book. And what I stay with my clients, I stay with my clients for as long as it takes to get a result. See, there's a lot of coaches out there, okay, who take people's money. And let me tell you this, I'm not knocking the coaching industry. I am a coach, okay? But there's a lot of guys out there who blow into town. I got one guy, I give you an example. You got Than Merrill. I have nothing negative to say about Than Merrill. The guy teaches a lot of people. But Than blows into town. He rents out the World Arena here in town once a year. He comes in for his investing coaching thing, right? And he charges $30,000 to $40,000. Okay, he hands you a workbook. He and his team get back on the plane and they leave. They don't care at all if you ever actually do a deal. Okay, I am building my coaching practice with results. And the way to get results is I stick with you as a client for as long as it takes. Now, how long does it take? Well, if you have the liquidity, we generally need you to have $50,000 liquid. Okay, we generally spend about I get clients under contract in the first month almost always, but most of my clients recently, because we're working deals and we're being super picky about the clients that we bring in, are under contract within a week or two, okay, with their deal, provided they have the liquidity. Okay, so a week or two in, you've bought your property or you're under contract to buy your property. Now we're working on the analysis. Again, we've already done the analysis before we present the property. So for my side, the analysis is done and ready to go, because analysis, when you've analyzed thousands of properties and done hundreds of them, it's very easy for me to do an analysis on a property. Okay, so we get the analysis done in a matter of hours. I present that to you. Let's say it takes you a day or two to digest the analysis. Then we know we're moving forward. We move on to funding. We get the deal funded. That generally takes 2 to 3 weeks to get it closed and et cetera. And then you're working on the fixed process, which is you're going to be in that fix for 4 to 6 weeks generally, right? And then you're back on the market. It takes 30 days to sell, right? And then you're selling it. So the whole process, beginning to end, is 90 to 120 days. But the answer to your question, fake user, how long do I stay with my clients? As long as it takes. I'm not going anywhere until we get a result. Okay, because I want to get a result for 2 reasons. Number one, it makes me a better coach, right? There's this whole thing going on with Coach Prime at CU Boulder, right? He won his first couple of games. It's making national celebrity, right? He's driving around his Rolls Royce. And by the way, I love Coach Prime, right? This is not a knock on the guy at all. I'm excited about the energy he brought to the CU program, okay? But then he lost the game. Where'd that energy go? Right? As soon as the results were not what people wanted, they dropped him like a bad habit. Right. And I think that's a shame, because I still think his coaching is amazing. I think he adds a lot to the program. But in my coach program, the game's not over till you make $25,000 in profit. Hopefully we get that done on the first deal. Right. And we're looking for deals where that's the spread. But if it takes a little bit longer, I'm here for you for as long as it takes to get that result. I hope that answers your question. Please download the book. I greatly appreciate it. And if you're ready, download the book. And then let's have a conversation. You get a chance to peer through it real quick, get a general idea on how my program works, and then it makes sense to talk about it. A lot of the people I'm meeting with right now, and I don't know if it's because it's the new year or because my social media is starting to take off a little bit, but I'm having a lot of conversations with people who are still getting the mindset that I'm some guru who can make them rich really quick. So $70K with your fee. I'm buying your book. You send me a link. ftcbook.com. I put it in the notes there, Facebook user. But you need to have 50K liquid, and my fee is nowhere near 20,000. I don't like to disclose it. I like to talk to you about the value add before I go over what it is, so I don't disclose it publicly. I think it's important that we meet first, but it won't be 70,000 total. It'll be much less than that, right? You pay your fee up front. And then we start the coaching, we find you a deal from there, and then we're working through that process of doing deal. My objective, though, I got a little off topic there, was that you're doing deals consistently, because if you're buying 4 deals a year and you're making $25,000 a deal, I've also built myself into a system where I make a little bit of money for signing the deal to you on the wholesale side. And I'm super transparent about that, right? This is what I'm making on the deal. This is what I expect you to make on the deal. And if those numbers don't work for you, that's totally fine. right? This is, I don't pressure anybody to do anything in this business. I was in real estate sales for years, and I respect my real estate people, but you got to be a hardcore salesperson to be successful in real estate, especially right now. And that's not a negative thing. You just have to be a closer. I got out of that business because I want to consult and present. If the numbers work, if the opportunity makes sense to you, I need you to pull the trigger. If it doesn't make sense to you, I need you to tell me it doesn't make sense to you. So either I can explain it to you in a way that will make sense to you, or we can just move on. Either is totally fine. But when we hop on a coaching call, we're gonna spend about 45 minutes, and I'm gonna go through my program in copious detail, how I find deals, how I'm gonna help you to analyze the deal, where the funding's gonna come from, how I'm gonna set you up to get the property fixed properly, and how we're gonna sell it. You're gonna net the profit on the back end, but if I explain it to you in detail and you don't get it or you don't like it, you shouldn't sign up. And that's okay, right? But I would love to have a one-on-one conversation with you. I'm sorry I don't know your name. Like I said, I don't always get the name of the person who's checking in, but it comes down to you have to want this. And if I can get you to the end result, I help you with that. Any other questions though, please keep hopping in on that. I love that we're interacting. Most of the time it's just me talking to myself for 20 minutes. So thank you for that. It means a lot to me. So what's the takeaway? This is not a get rich quick sequence. Okay, if you're looking to get rich quick, I'm not your guy. Okay, but if you understand that to build wealth, you need income to amass a fortune, then I'm the right move, because it's going to take way longer to build wealth, and it's almost impossible. By the time you build a rental income empire that can provide the lifestyle that you want, you're going to be in your 70s or 80s, right? And you're almost, with respect to my friends and people I know who are in their 70s and 80s, you're almost dead now. What was the point, right? You've got 80 to 85 years on this earth, if we're talking about averages, right? If you're going to spend most of it chasing $300 a month properties, plus you can't take the equity with you, right? The equity goes to your children, it goes to your heirs, right? So if we're talking about income that's going to provide for you, right, you absolutely positively have to have a wealth building strategy that's faster than rental income. And my wealth building strategy is we buy and flip properties so we can take that income from the flips and apply it towards buying rental properties so we can accelerate that process. Now, if you buy them right, you're able to buy a couple a year, right? Because you're taking the money from the flips and you're able to buy 1 or 2 a year. Now you're doing that. And we're still talking 4 to 5 years before you could retire on it. But name something where that's not the case. Are you going to get rich quick in stock investing? Heck no. You can get rich quick with an annuity or a pension or putting money in a 401k. These investment strategies take years to duplicate, right? The only thing is you have to be employing some wealth building investment strategy or you're going to die broke, right? And that's not the goal. You didn't work this hard to die broke. Am I right? So whatever you're doing, in addition to whatever you're doing, this is a wealth building strategy that will accelerate your wealth growth because you're applying money to the housing market, which is predictable, and you can make money on a predictable basis to then reinvest that money in whatever you're going to do for long-term growth or appreciation. It certainly could be rental property. It could be buying other businesses. I recently acquired a flooring store, Lifestyle Floors. Where did the money from that come from? Flipping. Right? We flipped houses. We had money because of the money we have made on the flipping houses. So I could make a massive investment in another cash flowing business, a flooring store. And imagine that. My clients need flooring because they're flipping houses. So I can take the flooring store. I'm making way less on my clients because I want to see them successful and I'm building a residual income through that. Right? But I'm still making money on those clients by selling them flooring, as well as making money from retail clients who walk in there. But I use flipping to get to that result. Okay, and you certainly can too. So although we are going to have in the coaching process, we are going to have a discussion about long-term buy and holds. Our initial discussion is going to be all about flipping a foreclosure deal. Okay, because if you start with flipping, you can make a lot of money fast. Note, I didn't say get rich quick. I said you can make a lot of money, but you've got to take that money and reinvest it into long-term assets to really get wealthy in this game. And that's what I help you to do. All right. This has been great. I appreciate you guys chiming in today. Thank you for that. If you'd like to move forward, again, check out the link, fdcbook.com, to download the book. It's only $9. It's an incredible investment for you. Please go take a look at that if you are ready to get started there. And then slide into my DMs if you want to have a conversation about hopping on a coaching call. I mean, honestly, I'd love for you to be qualified, have liquidity, but I love talking about what I do with people. So I would really like to, I'd love to meet with you as well, Facebook user. Hopefully I figure out who you are. Do me a favor, message me your name directly so I know who you are, and let's stay in touch. I appreciate it. And yeah, hopefully we can do something this year. I'm not in a rush, but let's do the meeting at very least. I love to meet people, find out who's ready for coaching right now. And I will tell you honestly, if it's not the right fit for you at the moment, that's okay, right? I'm here as a resource for people who want to change their life through real estate investing. And I'm confident I can help anybody who's got the liquidity and is coachable to build the income that they need to build long-term wealth. I'm living proof that real estate investing works, and I can certainly help you as well. With that, we are way over time today. I try to keep these to about 20 minutes, but we had a lot of interaction today. So that's a beautiful thing. Thank you for that. Stay tuned, guys. A lot of cool stuff coming. Please download the book. If you haven't done so already, join the Facebook group. Just Google Foreclosure Deals Coach and find that group. You'll get into there. We can have a discussion there. And guys, the market is changing right now. So it's an excellent time to learn from these changes. It's going to make you a better investor, and it's going to make you a lot of money while you're learning. And that's an awesome opportunity. With that, this is Donny Coram, your Foreclosure Deals Coach. Thanking you so very much for tuning in each and every single week to this live broadcast, and reminding you now and always, don't buy a house, buy a deal.